Hi, good evening. This is Marco Sola from Crypto Conexión. With me today, I have Adrian Aurelius, or Adrian Aurelius TV from Instagram. He's an influencer in the space in Dubai. He's a speaker at many conferences, and I'm really excited to have him here with us. He's really knowledgeable in the space of virtual land, NFTs. He's been in the crypto market for over like a couple of years now. I remember his brother told me that, yeah, my brother, he's mining Bitcoin, he's mining this, he's mining that, blah, 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 from his apartment in New York. And now he's in Dubai. So I'm like, let me, I have to meet him. I have to get to know him. Who is this Adrian? So yeah, I want to say thank you for being here and being with us. Teaching the Latin American community about the importance of virtual land, and we're going to talk about so quote unquote meme coins. Adrian is one of the best people out there. He's really knowledgeable and he's really smart and he's really invested and he wants the best for everyone. Do you have anything else to say for this introduction, Adrian?
No, listen, Marco, thanks for having me. I'm very excited. I really don't want to make it about me. I want to make sure that you guys get the most insightful information from me and then go back and really look into this market. I think we're seeing a huge opportunity. One thing to say right now is that right now the market cap for the whole crypto space is sitting at 1.7 trillion. Mm-hmm. And that's with 4% of the population. So what happens if 10% of the population is in crypto? In addition to crypto is going to solve real world problems in countries that don't have access to banks. So people technically could bank themselves. So this is another reason why I think crypto is exciting. You see countries, Latin American countries, El Salvador's already using Bitcoin as a legal tender. So things are happening and they're happening quick. So if you're watching this, really, really pay close attention because the opportunity is here.
Amen. So let's start off with an icebreaker. I always love to do this. So can you tell me 2 truths and 1 lie about you? And I have to guess which one is the lie.
So 2 truths. I am 40 years old and I made over 30 million in crypto.
And 1 lie.
1 lie. I have a Lamborghini outside.
The 30 million in crypto is a lie.
Yeah, I will get there. I will get there.
No, of course. So, let's start off. We want to start talking about, virtual land. And before we start that, why did you move to Dubai? I know that you were here in New York. You were doing great for you, but you decided to move to Dubai. Why was that?
Well, definitely. One of the things in Dubai is that I wanted to see was just a change of environment. It's important, especially if you're young, to start traveling to different places of the world, not only to see and have a different perspective on how people live in other countries, but to meet other people. So when you think about Dubai, Dubai is like a modernized New York, where multiple nationalities are in this country as expat. Actually, I think 60% of the population here are expats. So you get to meet a lot of people and business opportunity. But the main reason that I came to Dubai was I got hired to be operations for a virtual reality company. So it kind of has to do with the metaverse. So I also run Dreamscape Immersive out of the Mall of the Emirates. So I work for them and I also do crypto on the side. So that was the main reason why I came to Dubai.
Wow. And how are the tax incentives for people in Dubai? I know here in New York, capital gains taxes are a curse. What would be the advantages for people that want to, seek out countries that, have these tax incentives?
Yeah, so number one, Dubai is becoming a crypto hub. There's multiple free zone areas where you could open up your business. They give you a 3-year visa. The fees are not that high, but most importantly, if you have a company here, you don't have to pay any taxes. Obviously, if you have the server, there is a 5% back that you have to pay depending on the service, if it's financial or if you're selling goods, yeah, that's a different thing. But here you don't pay capital taxes. So for example, if in America, if you were selling an NFT, for instance, you would have to pay taxes on the price of Ethereum, the increase in price, and then you have to pay 38% after you sell your NFTs. 38% the government wants. Now, are people doing that right now? No, but unfortunately, there is going to be regulations where you're going to have to extract, especially if you're using Coinbase. So again, that's an incentive that Dubai has. You protect it as far as taxes. And it's in an international hub. So New York, you know, you think about New York as being the center of the world. Well, in Dubai, in this part of the world, it's central. Like if you're in Dubai, you get to travel to other countries, which is like 2-3 hours away. So it's like a really central hub. And it's an exciting time. Something else about Dubai that's amazing, other than business, it's just like it's safe, it's clean, and people here just want to work and create business. It's an amazing environment, and I do recommend people to visit.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And as far as like what you were saying about the NFTs and the taxes, in New York especially, like New York is the financial capital of the world. If
Correct.
you know, we have more lenient laws towards crypto, and you know, if New York adopts it, the rest of the world is just gonna follow suit, and the rest of the US. And that's what, you know, that's one of the things that we need, other than the spot
Yeah.
ETF. After we get the spot ETF, we're definitely
Well,
shooting
it's,
to the moon.
what's interesting, so I was reading an article where the senator of Arizona wants to make Bitcoin legal tender. I don't think that's going to pass, but it's a start, man. So, you know, when you think about the government, it's 25% are in for it and 75% are not. So it'll happen, because at the end of the day, you can't control crypto. It's a people currency. If people want crypto, it's going to happen. People said one day Bitcoin has value. If I give you this, you give me that for a Bitcoin, it created value, and it's the #1 asset of the world right now. I mean, you can't compete with it.
Yeah. So let's talk about virtual land.
Okay.
I want to know how you found out about it, and if you know kind of the story behind it. I know that the Decentraland was the first one to kind of have virtual land, and there's been other games, other metaverses that have been created afterwards. But I just want to know how you found out about it, how people in Latin America can find out about it, how can they get invested or learn about this this new metaverse.
Yep. So first of all, when we think about virtual land, think about Minecraft. That's the first thing that comes to mind. Minecraft is an endless world where you could do things, you could build things, right? So pretty much Sandbox and the Decentraland were the first to begin this, right? So they began this about 2017, and they became official about last year. This only happened last year in July. A piece of plot. So when I say a plot, you get a 1x1 in this virtual space, almost like a block, where you could build on it. You could put things on it. You can invite people to your plot. So it's another world in the metaverse, right?
Yeah.
And what's interesting about it that, you know, you own that, right? And it's an NFT also, because they have a special code for that special plot of land for you. So that's how I found out about it. So I found out about Sandbox, I found about the Decentraland, and when I heard about it first, a piece of plot was only $20. Okay. And I honestly missed this opportunity, and I regret it. If you buy land now in Sandbox or the Decentraland, you're looking at $10,000 or higher, which is
Minimum.
a crazy increase. Minimal. So then people are saying, well, why is this so expensive? So a couple of reasons. I get this question a lot. So if you're paying $10,000 for land, can they create land unlimited? Can they just keep on creating land and sell it for $10,000? Technically, no. So when it comes to Sandbox and the Decentraland, they're only gonna make 177,000 plots. Okay. If they made it unlimited, it's not gonna have no value, because they can make any amount of land. So there's going to be always a supply there, but the supply is limited. Okay. The next thing to consider is like, okay, so why do I want a piece of land here? #1, commerciality. H&M already has a couple of stores in the metaverse. Adidas has branding. So think about think about 34th Street. Let's say we had a virtual land on 34th Street. It's the same concept, but it's digital. Advertisement, commerciality, parties, meetups, everything that we do in the real world, you technically could do it in the virtual space.
Yeah.
So, and what's cool about it is that you could do different activities, right? So in the virtual space, you can play games, you can meet up with tons of people. So pretty much what you could do in the real world, you kind of be able to do in the virtual space. And that's why it's becoming popular. And a lot of companies are saying, wow, all the millennials or the young kids are going to this space to either meet their friends, to play games, to watch different things, to explore. So let's bring the world into the virtual space. So that's why it's becoming very, very popular.
And so you said the influx in price. That I believe that's like a 20x from the current price. So how can people in Latin America, get into that? Like, what do they have to look out for? Like, oh, how can this plot of land be better than this one, or where to go? How can they differentiate between the different games? Because I know some games are different from others.
Yeah, that's a good question. So you also got to think about it just like the real world, right? So let's talk about New York. If you buy a land or apartment in Manhattan in the middle, you can pay a premium price. It is the same thing in the virtual world. The closer you are to popular areas in the metaverse, the more expensive your land is. If you're in an intersection in Sandbox, it's going to cost you more because you have more traffic passing through those intersections. So again, it's technically the same concept. You have to look at it almost like a real estate broker. It's the same thing. So if your area is populated, if there's dances, if there's a lot of people, if there's events happening around your area, then you have expensive space. So that's something to look at. However, obviously, we're common people. We don't have a lot of money to spend on some of this space. So it's ideal. It's okay to get space not in the main areas. There's outskirts. There's different things that you can look at in different areas of the metaverse that you can invest. And another good investment. So when we talk about the metaverse, and this is another question that I get, how many metaverses there's going to be, right? That's a big question.
Yeah.
And at this point, we don't know. Like right now in crypto, we have 17,000 different coins. They could be more than 100 metaverses. But it's going to be, who's going to be the top metaverse? Is Sandbox going to be the Bitcoin? Is the Decentraland going to be the Ethereum? So that's up to us decide, the people, like what's going to be the best metaverse.
Yeah, I've played, the Decentraland, and honestly, I like it. The only thing that that scares me is that in video games, per se, people tend to get bored. Once this is done, people just go on to the next game and the next game and the next game. But do you feel like this is different? Do you feel now that companies have adopted it and that they're going to start advertising and they're investing in it? Because big companies are investing in this. Like, Microsoft just purchased Activision. Like you said, Adidas, H&M. Like, do you feel like these games right here, right now, even if more games are going to come out, are still going to be the top dogs? Maybe the new games that come out are going to take some market share or market price. But do you feel like these games, they're just right now too big to fail?
Yeah, I mean, so to your point, I also was on the Decentraland, and I think it's a bit boring. I think it's fun in the beginning to walk around and go to different places and see different people. So I think the integration needs to happen is this. You go into, let's say, the Decentraland, and then you meet some of your friends. If they could implement AAA games into this space, then we're talking about a different story. And I think they have to do that in order for that space to move forward. So, I mean, we have Adidas, we have Nikes, we have big brands. And again, Microsoft just paid $77 billion for this gaming company. So they're already thinking ahead. They're saying, no, we got to make this AAA type style so people could come here, they could play, they could have tournaments, almost like esports, but in the metaverse. So once they do that, and then it goes to the other category, play to earn, which is going to be another big industry. once they implement all those elements together, then you have something big. Then it's going to be incredible. It's going to be absolutely incredible.
So with the land that you purchase, you said it's an NFT. So in the contract, can you go over what NFTs are for the people that may not know? And then can you rent out your piece of land like real estate like today?
Yeah.
And then do you have to, you could put your artwork, you could put, like what can, once you purchase the land, what can be done?
Yeah, so NFTs, right? So NFT is a non-fungible token. Pretty much, I'm sure everybody sees JPEGs being sold for millions and millions of dollars, and everybody's like, why is somebody paying $500,000 for a boring ape? Well, an NFT has a special code. So let's say this was my NFT. Obviously, it's not digital, but let's just assume it has a special code within that NFT saying that out of 3,000, I have one of them in the world, right? And then people are saying, but it's still a JPEG. Why is that so valuable? Well, because some of these NFTs have utility. So if we think about the Boring Ape Clubs, if you own one, you go to exclusive yacht parties, you go to exclusive parties. A lot of celebrities are already buying into it. So it gives you exclusivity. And in the future, it's going to be like concert tickets. So you could have this concert ticket and you could maybe rent out your NFT so they could go to the concert. So there's a lot of cases that people are saying, well, it's just a picture. No, it has more utility. In addition to that, there's another factor that plays into NFT. If we were back then, right? If we were in the 80s, let's just say, and I invited you to my house, I'll say, hey, look at this beautiful painting I have in my house. It's a rare painting. Nobody can see it, right? But we live in a digital world now. And instead of me inviting you to my house to show off my painting, I have a digital on my phone saying, hey, this is only 1 in 3,000. Isn't it cool? It also becomes a showing off aspect. And that's how we live. Everything's about being social, right? So it's cool to have this rare NFT that you own, and it has value, especially for an artist, right? So if you're an artist, you create an NFT, you put your 10,000 pieces on Opean Sea, which is the #1 place where you could buy land and where you could buy NFTs.
Okay.
Every time it sells, you earn 5% on your artwork, right? So you don't have to go through litigations and big contracts. It's a simple process, putting your NFTs there, and forever, your NFT sells, you get 5% royalties. Think about music. Think about artists that don't get compensated the right way. Now you could technically set up your own business, sell your artwork, and you don't have to go through lawyers or litigation. It goes directly to your wallet, into crypto, which you convert into money. So NFT is not a JPEG that it's overpriced. There's a lot of utilities in NFTs, and companies are looking into it. And it's so popular that companies are just using it into their speeches, into announcements, because it's so popular. They just want to create a buzz in their company. Even if they're not going to do it or it's years in development, they're using that verbiage because they know it's something big coming. I mean, Gary Vee's been talking about it forever. So I'm sure everybody here follows Gary Vee, and he'll tell you, he had an NFT project, right? He made, it's kind of silly, but it's crazy. So he made a couple of stick figure animals.
Okay.
And they all had like a trader or whatever. He put them on his NFTs. Obviously, he's popular. Of course, it's going to sell. But at the rate that he sold it, he made $40 million to sell it. And based on the royalties and the resale that people were buying, he made $90 million in like a week.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's amazing. It's pretty amazing. But again, I think for me, the way I look at NFT for artists, for music artists, that back then, music artists used to get signed for little money. They'll sell millions of records and get anything. Now, again, it goes, when I talk about crypto, it goes power to the people. Give the power to the people. So they could do that now, and they don't have to rely on big corporations to represent them. Now it's an open space for everyone to explore and make or generate wealth for themselves.
So I love this conversation. Thank you so much for your insight, Adrian. When you say artists, right? Like people in Latin American countries, that we're from, how can you mention Open Sea? How can they release their music on Open Sea, or release their artwork on Open Sea? Like, do you know a good way for them to start? And how Open Sea, yeah, is the biggest, but it doesn't have the traffic that, say, like a Sony does, or like, say, like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
Universal has, and that's what I know in Puerto Rico, a lot of the reggaeton artists are signed to Sony, or signed to like big record labels, and that's also one of the ways that you become popular, because they promote you, they they make you interviews, they make all this. So I love that they could get the 5% commission and the royalty, and everything is for them. But how can they get started?
Yeah, so I'll speak more or less for the artist, right? Because the music stuff they're still working on. There's this company, or coin called Audio, where they're working on, creating that type of platform, almost like a SoundCloud or NFT. So that's later on. But if you're
Okay.
an artist, if you're a photographer, even, all you have to do is, number one, you get your collection together. And it doesn't have to be 10,000 pieces. Let's say you have 2 pieces that you want to put on OpenSea. That's no problem. But first, and I learned it from experience, you kind of have to build the community. So you do a Discord, you do a Twitter account, or on your Instagram, and you say, hey guys, I'm working on a couple of pieces. If you have a good following, you show previews of it on your social sites. And then you say, on January 1st, I'm gonna release this on OpenSea. And the way that you do it in OpenSea is you get a MetaMask wallet.
Okay.
So that's a crypto wallet. You mint it onto OpenSea, and you have to pay a fee to mint it. And like, I don't want to go too technical, but pretty much it will take, to be honest, the whole process is like 10 minutes.
Okay.
As long as you pay the fee, you put the price. So you could either have it for bidding, almost like eBay, or you can put it at a set price where people could buy it. Once you post it, you just re-advertise and say, hey guys, my artwork is on OpenSea. Here's the link. You could promote it on your social sites, set the price, and see what happens. And you never know, man. You never know. Like, somebody, and this is the beauty of it, right? It's an open market. The world is looking at this. So instead of being limited to an art gallery in your country or on your website, now you have a couple of people from all over the world coming to the site to find art. People want to find a cool NFTs, and you might have a chance of making a lot of.
And when you say minting, what does, for the people that don't know what minting is,
It's the same thing as saying uploading it to OpenSea after you pay the fee. That's just minting. So it's like uploading a picture onto the website. That's all it is, really. But it's also minting. It gives it a special code. It puts an integration code into your NFT. So that's also happening in the minting process.
Yeah. I think what you're saying is beautiful. Thank you again. I believe that you could attest to this. As an artist, one of the main reasons that people stop doing their art or stop doing what they love is because a lot of artists may not get the money or the financing once it happens, and people just stop. They start working, they start doing their job, and that's the beauty of crypto, that I feel that since it is powered to the people, more people, once they start knowing what OpenSea is, they're going to start, investing and creating communities and socializing more and supporting people, instead of being these big corporations that force, like, Taylor Swift onto us. I mean, not that her music is bad, but a lot of the stuff that comes out is being forced to us, and this people are going to start creating their own communities and being growing even bigger to what they could have been,
Exactly.
or what they are.
They get full exposure into this beautiful market. It's incredible. And it's hard work, guys. And I just want to say this. Just because you put your picture on OpenSea, you're not going to be a millionaire. It's hard work. You have to advertise yourself. It's almost like you're selling your paintings to somebody in the street. Like, why should they buy it? So you have to create a story behind it. You have to work hard. You have to talk about it. You have to be your own marketing person. So if you just put a picture there, it's not going to sell. It's a whole package. You have to think about the idea, the story, what's making, why is this person going to buy your pic? So you have to go through that process also.
Yeah, you have to be a good artist, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, art and music, you know, it's up to the people to decide what's good and what's not. Like, you know, it's at the end of the day, it's creativity. So that's, you know, like virtual land and what you put in it and the NFTs that you do. It's all creative, but you know, like Adrian said, it's hard work. Rome wasn't built in 1 year. Like, you're gonna struggle, you're gonna have to hit some rough patches, but at the end of the day, this is something that's new and that you should, you know, definitely take a look at it. And the 5% of royalty fee that you said, once Open Sea becomes even bigger, because it's inevitable, it's inevitable, would those fees decrease, increase, stay the same, or
I think they'll increase. I mean, if they're going to increase and they're evaluated already over 20 billion, I think they're going to pay the people because they want people to use their site, because they're going to have competition. They want to be number one, right? So I think they'll be more generous when it comes to fees.
Okay.
Going back to the person.
And what is the competition? I know Solana Art is one. I know Cardano has
Solana Art.
marketplace.
You got a C NFT, which is a Cardano type NFT platform. So you have a few, but OpenSea pretty much dominates the world. You have a lot of apps. You have like Art Wallet that's creating an NFT integrated app. So they do have competition, but right now they're pretty dominant.
And it's safe to say that they are the number one. If you want your artwork to be exposed or your NFTs to be exposed, that's definitely the way to go. But let's mention about the gas fees. Can you go over a little bit of the gas fees and compare and contrast like Solana or the other ones that are much cheaper than to do it on OpenSea? Like on OpenSea, I feel that, you know, you're paying a premium sort of, because that's the number one and that's where the most volume is. Correct?
So yeah, so pretty much gas fees are transactions that are happening in the Ethereum network. So you have to pay a fee to transact in the Ethereum network, and it's pretty high. If you're minting or if you're making a transaction during peak times, I'll say Eastern Standard Time is the peak time in America, or the way that we look at it, it could be pretty high. So minting could cost you from $300 to $400 just to mint, right? So what is the competition and what can you do? So of course, you mentioned it, Solana. Solana pennies to mint a picture. The fees are very minimal. You have Cardano and CNFT. You could do the same process, pay less fees, and you could even buy land and CNFT with no to close fees, okay? So definitely, if you're starting out, definitely don't go to OpenSea unless you have already enough capital to do so. Try the other ones. Yes, they're lower tier, but you'll start getting your work out there. But I do recommend Cardano or Solana when it comes to paying less fees, because it adds up at the end of the day.
Yeah, of course. When you do, say you do a collection, say you have like, you know, 10 artworks that you want to like post. Do you have to pay on every single one of them, or once you mint
so you could do that, or I think what OpenSea is actually doing, and I forgot to mention this, they're also going to start using the Polygon network. So it is going to be lower actually. So I forgot to mention that they're just working on that. So if you use that network, you'll pay less fees, and yeah. So per minting, you have to pay a small fee. But I recommend if you're on OpenSea, look up Polygon. I think they're integrating that network, because people are like, well, what's the point of paying all these fees when you have other networks that or ecosystems that are not doing that much? So definitely look into that.
No, of course. Hopefully they team up with Polygon. Polygon is actually what's saving Ethereum. Sorry to go on a tangent. but Polygon is definitely a coin that people should look into. The people that are watching us, they should definitely look at what Polygon is doing and how it's saving Ethereum. One last topic before we finish with the virtual land. Do you think in the future these virtual lands like Sandbox and Decentraland and the other games that are gonna eventually come out, do you think they'll coexist? Like, do you think that you could go from one world to the other, or since they're games and they're quote unquote competition, they're not gonna want to do that? Do you think it's
So it's
possible?
interesting. This is a great question, and I have a great answer. So Pravia is located in the Cardano ecosystem. When I say the
Okay.
ecosystem, the Cardano network, right? So
Okay.
what Pravia did is they created a portal. This is like some Star Trek thing. They created a portal in the world where if you go in the portal, you actually come out in Sandbox. So to
Nah,
answer
that's
your
crazy.
question, the integration is happening already, which is
Wow.
phenomenal. Now, as far as metaverses, like what I don't want to see is 16 million metaverses, right? Because it's gonna get saturated, like
Saturated.
all these cryptos, and your mind goes crazy because you want to find the right one. So hopefully, the top 10 will stay the top 10, and people could partner up instead of building on top of it.
Yeah.
I don't want to see like 100 metaverses. Like it should be minimized. It shouldn't be too
Yeah.
many.
Yeah. Honestly, me either. I want to, as long as there's a couple, because video games already have. You mentioned Minecraft. There's other games like Minecraft too. Roblox is another good one that all my little cousins are addicted to that game.
Yeah.
So it's not bad having competition, because at the end of the day they're going to make each other better. Like, they want people to come into their game and actually be invested and play in it. And they I don't mind having a couple, but like you said, oversaturation is not good for the ecosystem. uh, so let's move on. Thank you for that
Okay.
great chat. I want to go over meme coins. Before we go into meme coins, how did you get started in crypto? I know that it's far along in the podcast,
Yeah.
but I kind of want to get your theory and how you got into crypto, like Bitcoin and Ethereum and other coins that you might have gotten into, and now how are you into meme coins? Because
So
you're someone that has been in the market a long time, and you've seen this exponential explosion of
yeah.
Dogecoin and Shiba Inu. How did you get into sort of like this market?
Yeah, so number one, I was always big into computers. I used to build them when I was a kid. I was always infatuated with the internet. I just always thought it was crazy that you could communicate digitally with somebody. And I was born in '81, so you guys never, your generation never had to deal with dial-up or none of that stuff. I had a
Hey, I was in
I
Puerto
had a
Rico.
Nokia
We
phone.
weren't. Well, I was in Puerto Rico. We weren't that advanced. I was born in the
Yeah.
mountains. My mom actually sent me a picture of the first present that I got as a baby when I was born was a horse.
Okay.
My grandpa bought me a
So
horse.
cool. Awesome. But yeah, so I was into computers, and then I started to hear about like digital currency, and I'm like, what the hell is Bitcoin? So I started to do a lot of research over the years. Never really got into it until 2016, where I was gaming a lot, and I had a lot of GPUs, and my friend came up to me. He was like, that you can mine Ethereum. And I was like, mine Ethereum? What the hell does that mean? So pretty much mining is that you're setting up GPUs, processing transactions in that ecosystem. And since you're processing transactions, you get income. So you get passive income because you're part of the network, and people are using your GPUs to transact, right? So you're part of the network, you're keeping the network alive. So I was like, this is fascinating. So what I did was I bought 40 GPUs. I'll never forget this. I bought 1080
Oh my
1080
God.
Ti's. I put it all over my broken apartment, and we were making about $1,000 a day at that time.
In the
lo and
Bronx?
behold,
Where you
I
were at?
didn't realize that Con Edison will call me, and Con Edison left me a voice message, and they were like, are you running a sweatshop? Because it was like a factory in my house. It's crazy.
In the Bronx
So,
with Jesus?
well, I started it in the Bronx, and then when I moved to Brooklyn, I brought it over to Brooklyn. It was a crazy
Oh
operation,
my God.
but for the simple reason that, again, crypto gives you so much power. Like, I was processing transactions, earning money from it. It's such a fascinating thing. But I want to say one thing about cryptocurrency, and people like, well, this is a lot of people speculating. They're like, oh, it's fake, it's a bubble, it's not real. So what I tell people is that, guys, if you go to the bank and you give the bank $1 million, be like, here, I want to deposit my money into the bank, 1 million. When you get your check or direct deposit, it's only numbers and code. It's not real dollar, because honestly, what the banks do is they take your money and they lend it out to other people. So when you transfer money back and forth, it's digital currency. It's always been there. But of course, the banks are not going to label that way. The banks is going to be like, oh no, that's real money. Of course, you can use it. You can take money out the ATM. But at the end of the day, we always had digital currency.
Yeah.
But the reason that people are looking at it differently, because it's decentralized, it's not in a centralized environment. So that's the difference between those two types of currency. You have centralized, you have decentralized. Okay. So again, going back to why I've been fascinated with computers, and Bitcoin just took it to another level for me. It's an
Nice.
awesome technology, and I believe in it so much.
So how did you get started then in meme coins? I know that you're really invested in Saitama. I know Shiba Inu. You make videos on your channel. How did you get
Yes.
started in those?
Yeah, so one thing that people have to understand is that everybody, when they first hear about cryptocurrency, they want to buy Bitcoin. Okay, and I'm gonna give you guys an example. Let's say we had $1,000. Bitcoin right now is $37,000, right? Let's say, oh my God, I want to get into cryptocurrency. I have $1,000. Okay, let's say that Bitcoin goes to $100,000. Okay, you're gonna profit $1,500 from your $1,000. If Bitcoin goes all the way to $100,000, that's only gonna give you $1,500 in profit. And people don't realize that. People think that, oh, I'm gonna put $1,000 in Bitcoin, I'm a millionaire, and it doesn't work that way. So my mindset started to change when you consider microcaps. And again, microcaps, it's a meme coin, but there's also coins that start at a very low price, like Matic, right? So I'm gonna give you another example. So Matic in February of 2021 was 5 cents. Okay, the price went all the way up to $1.70. With the same $1,000 that we had invested in Bitcoin, again, we would only make $1,500. But if we put $1,000 into 5 cents and the price went to 70 cents, which happened in 3 months for Matic, you're looking at $31,000 in profit.
Wow.
As soon as I discovered that, I was like, microcaps is my strategy. And that's the way to catch up. So once you make that profit into microcaps or a meme coin that starts at a very low price, hundreds and zeros in front of it, right? And you make the 31,000, then you take that money and then you buy your Ethereums, then you buy your Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is the apex asset in the world. It's number one. Nobody can touch it. They cannot make any more Bitcoins. So obviously, yes, I do recommend buying Bitcoin once you make profit from microcaps. So that's why I like meme coins. That's why I like microcaps, because they're gonna give you the best investment opportunity, the most profitability back. Now, with that being said, a meme coin could go to $1 to $0. Okay, so there's a lot of different coins that you have to do your research, meaning who's behind it, are there real people behind the project? Okay, does it have some sort of case use? Yeah, it's a meme, but does it do something, right? And how's the social? Do they have a big Twitter following? Do they have a good community? So you have to play those factors in deciding what meme coin is good or not. And for the most part, there's some that are good, but every single day, if you look at CoinMarketCap, they're making a meme coin. So you just have to pick the right one, and you have to pick the right time, because at the end of the day, you kind of make money. And then I'll preface to something else. Another reason that people go into meme coins is because they hear about Dogecoin. Dogecoin went up to 70 cents, okay? Now, people have to stop thinking that every meme coin is going to go to 50 cents to $1. If you look at the group chats, if you look at the community, like, oh, this is going to be the next meme coin that's going to go to $1. Guys, those coins will not go to $1 for the simple reason that the market cap in the whole entire crypto ecosystem would have to be 70, 100 trillion for that to happen. But think about this. If you have a meme coin, and let's say it has seven zeros and maybe the number 1, if it eliminates 2 zeros from its supply or 2 zeros from its price point, you make money. So so people got to stop thinking about, oh, it's going to go to $1. No, guys, just do the math. And a lot of people, I walk around with a calculator all day because it's about setting yourself up for success, giving yourself the right expectation. Okay, I'll make you laugh. My sister called me one day and she's like, I'm excited. I'm like, why? And, you know, I want her to be excited. She's like, I put $30 on Shiba and I'm gonna be rich. I said, listen, I'm happy you're looking into cryptocurrency, but what is your profit margin? How much money are you gonna make if Shiba goes to a certain price? What is your profit? When are you gonna get out? So you have to make sure that you're calculating and setting yourself for success. Make sure that you have a tangible, smart, measurable goal that you know you can see. Okay, if she wants to put $40, that's fine. But at what point is she gonna get out? If she triples her money, if she makes 4 times her money, so you have to do all that. You can't just say I'm putting $1 on Shiba and it's gonna be $1 million. It does not work that way, guys. It's hard. You have to do the math.
Yeah, I tell people that the market is made for you to lose money. the market is made out so, you know, more people tend to lose money than make money. Do you recommend starting off with a good portfolio, like, you know, the big micro caps like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Cardano, and then putting also some into these meme coins? Or what's the strategy for 2022? I know 2022 has started off as a really rough year. So what's the strategy for this year?
So look, it's a great opportunity right now for the simple reason because you have top 10 coins that are at a good price. You have Cardano that's at $1.05. You have Phantom that's at $2, right? So what I recommend is you get 60% of your portfolio should have Phantom, VRA, Zelica, micro caps, but these are good coins that just haven't come into fruition. Just this year, Cardano began to release coins in their ecosystem. It's at $1 right now. That's a huge opportunity. The current market cap for Cardano is sitting at 35 billion. It just hasn't grown yet. And it's processing more transactions than Ethereum. So if you want to get into crypto, make sure that 60% of your portfolio are on solid coins. Then the 40%, then you find a meme coin. You find a Saitama. You find a Floki that's doing good things. It's at a low right now. You find I think Shiba, to be honest, I'm not a big fan. I think it's dying away. But you have a lot of meme coins that are going to show new things. And the people that are developing it, they don't want to just make a dodge. They just want to make a meme coin, but they want to have a good case use for it, so it could be worth it for the people.
VRA is Veracity, right?
Yeah, Veracity, and Veracity is going to play a big role in esports. And what they do is they confirm.
It's like the Twitch. It's like the Twitch of crypto.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that's another coin that's right now it's at 3 cents. If the coins go to 10 cents and you put $1,000, you're gonna make money. So think about micro caps. 60% good solid coins, 40%. It's kind of like your risk bag, you know. And again, your 40% bag should be money that you can't afford to lose. That's why it's 40%, okay? Because you want to win with 60% and you're okay to lose with 40%.
And where do people go to, find, where do you do your research? I know you mentioned CoinMarketCap, there's CoinGecko. Which ones are good for people, to start off that want to like look at these coins? And then what to look for, like the market cap, like you mentioned the community, like the discords, like everything. What do people need to look for?
Yeah, so number one, I think CoinMarketCap is my best friend. It gives you everything you need to know, every specific, every information, every data point. It definitely gives it to you 100%. So one of the things I look for example, if I'm looking at a meme coin, right, I look at how many people are viewing it and how many people have it on his watch list, right? And again, I don't want to make this very complex, but there's another link which is called the Explorer. The Explorer shows you how many people are actually holding it and how many transactions are being processed. And what you do is you write it down, make sure you write down the data, you check on it every week or every other day. And if you see exponential increases, that means it's trending. So then you put in, let's say you put in 500 here, you see growth, you put 500. So you try to dollar cost average in. Don't go all in because you don't know what's going to happen in the following weeks or to a month. So that's how we do it. After I find that, and after I find something that I think is trending, I check Twitter. Who's talking about it? Who's behind it? I check the website. Who's developing it? Why developing? What's the case use? Does it have a good burn rate? Is it deflationary? Again, you want to find a coin that's deflationary, because it burns the supply. The smaller the supply, the higher the demand, the price goes up. So those are different factors that I look into it. And again, basically, it's basically community driven. If there's a lot of people driving this coin, it's only common sense that it's going to do good and it's going to go up because people believe in it, just like Bitcoin. People say, you know what, this is a currency. I want to buy goods with this. I think this has value. Like anything in the world, like when man started, man said, oh, this is gold, this has value. I want to buy a horse with this gold brick. It's the same concept, but in a digital world. And what I tell people, that people also have to realize, you have to think about 10 years from now. We're entering the space age, or we're kind of are in the space age already. So how do you think are people going to trade money? Gold, the dollar? It's all going to be digital currency. Marcos, you're going to be in Mars and I'm going to be in the Earth. And Marcos is going to be like, Adrian, you owe me 2 Ethereum. You'll be like, okay, here you go. Boom, done. Transaction completed. So we're moving to every few years, we get the world gets more exponentially smarter. Data moves quicker. You think we're going to be trading dollars or gold bricks? Doesn't make sense. Absolutely not.
So I didn't send this on the questions I asked you, so it's like sort of a curveball. But what's a goal that you have for 2022 in the crypto market? Like that you didn't happen in 2021 or hasn't happened yet, and you want this to happen, or this is what you want in 2022? What is it?
Well, number one, I want Cardano and its ecosystem to really, really change kind of like the way that, or the perception of it, right? Cardano's been sitting in the background just watching other coins grow their ecosystem, but Cardano's doing things differently. And I think we have to think about the people, and we have to think about good things that's going to help the world, right? So what Cardano's doing is they're pairing up with countries that are unbanked, which is Africa. And what they're doing is they're giving everybody a cell phone, absolutely free, right? Wow. And all they have to do is connect to a Wi-Fi network. And again, Elon Musk is working on making this global Wi-Fi network, and that hopefully happens. But then, so that means, and again, it's happening in El Salvador. That means that somebody in Nigeria is selling whatever, and they're like, oh, I would like to purchase that. They send the transaction via the phone. Now they're banking themselves. That's going to bring more economical stability to those countries, and I think I really want to see that. Truly want to see that. It's going to be great. So hopefully that could happen. So I want to see more countries put Bitcoin as a legal tender. I want to see countries that are not unbanked to bank themselves. So, I mean, look what's happening in the what's that country? Turkey. Like everything is falling apart. Like the banks are falling apart. So I know the banks are always going to be there. And I think maybe in the future, there has to be a partnership between banks and cryptos to make the world a better place. And I think that's what I want to see. Obviously, for myself, I want to make the most profit, but I definitely want to give back. And I'm glad I'm part of this, because, you know, maybe we could do this more on the regular. And my Instagram. So one thing I want to say also, when it comes to Instagram and YouTube, you have two different types of people that are trying to influence or talk about crypto. You have people that say, I made $3 million in cryptocurrency. Look at my Lamborghini. Look at the color. That's not important, guys. Those people are not going to help you. You find people like Marco, like myself, we really want to teach people. And I think it's important. I think, Marcos, you could agree with me that when we went to school, they don't teach about financials in school, unfortunately. They don't teach about that your credit score is the most important thing in the world. So teaching people about crypto, it's an exciting thing for me. And that's why I started the channel. Not to show off, not to say I have millions of profits, but it's an opportunity for you, number one, to change your family and to have generational wealth for yourself. This is the first time in history. Well, this is another part in history where wealth is changing because of crypto. Like the spectrum is absolutely changing, you know? So exciting times are coming.
Yeah, I mean, it's like investing in like the smartphone, investing in the internet, investing in, you know, in innovation, and it's inevitable. Like it's already here. It's only gonna continue to get bigger. We were talking before we started the podcast about the strategies and that we're taking profit in 2022. If we're taking profit in 2022, is it smart for people in Latin America and people that are starting out to start investing right now? Wait until Bitcoin goes down a little bit more. Waiting if it goes up, is gonna continue to run up. What's the strategy for people in 2022 that are not even in the market, like just you know, starting off like from scratch?
So listen, I'll say it straight. If you guys are starting out, number one, you have to go on YouTube and you have to do your research and you have to understand how it works, right? But on the other hand, get a Binance exchange, get a Coinbase account, try to see how it works. Like trade, send yourself 3 ADA, send yourself USDT. Find your fundamentals, how that works, research it, play with it, right? Then after that, I think it's still good opportunities to buy right now. So again, you have to get into your market caps. The 60-40 portfolio should be looking at that. Again, one very important thing, if you're new, you're gonna go on Twitter one day, you're gonna go on YouTube, and you're gonna hear somebody say, oh my God, this coin is going to the moon, buy it right now. Do not FOMO into anything, because you will lose a lot of money. And what's crazy about that statement is that when Bitcoin was at $61,000, people were lining up for it. But when Bitcoin is at 30,000, it's at 37,000 now, there's nobody talking about it. People are not lining up. So it's a crazy mindset that people fail to understand. And again, when people are fearful, that is your opportunity to be greedy. Warren Buffett said that. So think about that. I think right now it's a good time. I think Bitcoin might, like you said, might take a step back, might retrace to maybe 35, 34, and then we could start seeing another peak. If you guys want a good perception, I'd say look at 2021, look at last year. It looks kind of similar. So if you want to see graphs, look at 2021. And don't forget that more institutes are putting money into this year. So I think we're going to see new all-time highs.
Adrian does a great video, really into detail about technical analysis in his Instagram account. If you guys want to go check it out. Also, to kind of like go into that 60 and 40%. One of the things I'm telling people, and I made a video about it, it's gonna be up in the channel pretty soon. It's about stable coins. I love that stable coins pay you an APY, annual percent yield. I've been telling people you've seen me in the group chat. That's what I've been preaching for about 4 or 5 months. If people would have been listening to me, like we would have been good. to have stable coins like USDT, UST, BUSD, USDC. That's a great way for people in our countries to start off. Like these coins are pegged 1-to-1 with a dollar. What that means is if you buy $1 worth of BUSD, you're gonna get $1 worth of BUSD. And you can send it out to different addresses, different wallets. The transaction fees are zero, if not minimal. So that's a really good way to start off, and you get a percent that a lot of banks will never give you. Like I was doing my research, and the highest bank that I was able to see is Ali Bank, and it gives you a 0.5% APY. So if you put $100, they're going to give you 5 cents at the end of the year. I suppose if you put $100 in, say, USDT, and you lend it out, you get 12.7%, which is what I kind of see as like the most safest. Obviously, it has its downsides, it has its upsides, but that to me, between 5 to 12 is what I tell people is a pretty good range for stable coins. You get $12.50 or $12.07 at the end of the year, and that's just with $100. You know, so that's one of the strategies, and that's what I kind of want people in Latin America to start doing, to be your own bank. Like
Exactly.
it gives us the ability to be our own bank. Like that to me is what got me into crypto. Like just not having to have an intermediary anymore. I want to wrap it up now with this. You're really, really big into ecosystems. And what I mean about that is that you're always saying in the group chat, like, guys, look at the Solana ecosystem. Like, look at these coins. Guys, look at the Cardano ecosystem, like SundaeSwap. Like, look at these coins, like Polkadot. Where do people go to research ecosystems? Where do you go? Where can they go to see? Because it's like you said, like if you put money into, for example, Solana, which is like at 100, like it's hovering over like $90 to $100. The highest it went was 300. But these coins in their ecosystem have the potential to give you more percent this year or next year or however it may be. So how do you do your research, and how do you find this, and how do you think is a good strategy to look at the ecosystem from these coins, and then put in some on the coins, and then put in some on the coins and on the ecosystem?
Yeah, and again, let's just explain it to the audience that when we talk about ecosystems, like you're saying, so let's use again Cardano, okay? Let's use Cardano or Ethereum. Those are the native tokens for that blockchain, okay? So when we talk about the ecosystem, again, we're talking about coins that are being developed using their technology, okay? So what I do again is I go to CoinMarketCap, I click on, let's say I click on Cardano, and next time I think what we should do is have like a little screen of us doing this. And then you can click on Cardano ecosystem. You can see it on the tags. Click on Cardano ecosystem. Most native coins have that. And then when you click on it, it gives you the whole list of what coins are being developed in that ecosystem. And then what I do, this is just my personal strategy, is that again, guys, I'm about micro caps. So I look at the price and I click on the tab so I can get the price from low to high. Okay. And when I find anything under 5 cents, then I go click on that coin and I'm like, okay, why is this 5 cents? Blah, 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 blah. And I do my research that way. So that's the way I look it up.
That's a great strategy for anyone that wants to start out. Do you have anything left to say to our audience? Any last comments?
No. I'll say this. I think we definitely need to do another video. I think what we should do on the next video is, number one, we talk more about your farming and safety. So guys, again, if you're getting into cryptocurrency, there's a lot of scams, unfortunately. It's a new thing. It's a wild, wild west. Don't go on YouTube seeing a video of Elon Musk talking, saying, if you send me 1 Bitcoin, I'm gonna send you 2 Bitcoin. I want you to think about that for a second. If you go on YouTube and you see a video that says, if you send me 1 Bitcoin, I'm gonna send you 2 Bitcoins back. I'm gonna send you $37,000 and you're gonna send me back over $60,000. Guys, it's just common sense at this point. The hackers are being smart, but it's common sense, guys. Nobody's gonna ask you for money. No influencer, no YouTuber's gonna ask you for money. Don't send money to people. Also, even if Marcos has Instagram, I have an Instagram. People also duplicate our accounts and
You've been
ask
duplicated,
people
right?
for money. I've been duplicated 6 times where somebody was having a full-blown conversation with my sister. And again, guys, the normal person is not gonna ask you for any money. Don't ever send money to people. And when it comes to you creating your account, your crypto wallet, make sure that you write down your seed passwords. So when you open a wallet, you get like 12 words that identifies your wallet. Write it down, folks. Don't take a picture of it with your phone, because what happens is, I had a friend that had a 30 Ethereum. Back in the days, he lost the password. He could never get that back. So there's a bunch of there's something called the cryptos dump space, where there's all this cryptos flying around, all this money that nobody can ever access again because it's completely gone. So guys, be smart. A lot of people don't send money to nobody. Keep your passwords to yourself. Make sure you write them down in a safe place. Don't take a phone out. Don't take a picture of it. Keep it in a nice store place, and just make sure that you are managing your accounts and everything is safely being watched by yourself.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's really important. Yeah, we definitely have to do this again. We could talk about the cold storage versus the hot storage, the different types of wallet. But yeah, it's really important to save those passwords, or it's more words. So so when you back up your wallet, it's gonna ask you like, what word was number 7, or what word was like first, or can you name all 12? And if you lose that, your money is long gone. And you know, in this market, I don't know how many wallets you have, but I have a fair few.
I have a lot of wallets.
I have a lot of wallets, and I have a lot, and I write them down in different places. I write it down on my phone. I write them down on like paper. I write them down. You know, you could save it on your Gmail. There's different places to store them. I have files. I have USBs. There's different places to store them. So everyone can research what they are more comfortable with, but definitely write down the passwords, because you don't want to lose those. That's like the safe to your bank account. Like that's like if you go, and I don't know if you ever saw Harry Potter, but when they go down to get like the wand, that's exactly how this is. Like they have to go on like the little circuit, blah blah blah. That's exactly how this is. So thank you so much, Adrian. Please follow Adrian, Adrian Aurelius TV on Instagram. If you liked it, please share this podcast on Crypto Conexión. It's gonna go out pretty soon. And thank you so much for your insight. It was a great conversation.
Thanks for having me.
You're really knowledgeable, and let's continue growing this market, because at the end of the day, what we need is adoption, and the more people that get adopted and the more people that start using it, the better the world is going to become.
Let's do it. Thank you so much, Marcos. I appreciate it.
Of course.